This guy is a wrecking machine, and he's hungry.
All of you chumps are gonna bow. I'm gonna show you how great I am.
Money.
You're listening to The Real Estate Debate with Mr. Credit on AM 760 KFMB. If you'd like to contact Mr. Credit, visit mrcredit.org.
All right, welcome to The Real Estate Debate, a very special edition of The Real Estate Debate because it is that time of the month. Mr. Intricate, my co-host today, it's time for the Redfin Roundtable.
That is always an entertaining and highly educating segment in the month workup.
Absolutely. So here's what we do. Once a month, we invite the real estate. See, a lot of people don't know that Redfin.com is a real estate brokerage. They just think it's a great website to use to search for homes online when you're looking to buy a house. In fact, it is a real estate brokerage, and there are real estate agents for Redfin.com right here in San Diego. We have 3 of them in the studio today with us. So let's go ahead and introduce them, Dale, if that's okay, before we talk mortgage shop, because I think they'll have some input for us as well. To my right, in the one seat, Uncle Jordan Clark, a U.S. citizen now.
U.S. citizen now.
Yes.
They can't kick me out.
We took you away from the Canada, or whatever you call it up there.
That's the correct pronunciation.
So it's great to have you in the studio as an American for the very first time.
Thank you very much, sir.
Welcome back. Real Estate Debate champion. Been a part of multiple Redfin Roundtables here. We appreciate your time today, sir.
Thank you.
And welcoming back, it's been a while since Cherie has been here. Cherie Bray is here from Redfin.com. What's up, Cherie?
Thank you. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well. You represent kind of the listing side of things today, as Jordan and Willie are more buyer specialists, although you guys do whatever you need to do as a team. I mean, it's not like you wouldn't take a buyer or they wouldn't take a listing if the team needed that.
Correct.
But you're a listing specialist, so it's great to have your opinion today as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, great to have you. And Mr. Willie Wilson is here as well today, who is a buyer specialist and always has great stories for us, dealing with people out in the marketplace and using Redfin.com as a tool and a resource. Willie, it's great to have you.
Thank you so much, Derek. Love being here.
Yeah, it's fantastic. This is my favorite show of the month because I feel like this is one of the most hidden jewels in all of real estate, which is Redfin.com. I am totally addicted to the website in searching for properties, understanding marketplaces, favoriting properties, looking for hot homes. We're going to talk about all that stuff today. We're going to talk about some of the new technology in Redfin. We're going to talk about what's going on in the market. Where are we at right now? No one would know better than the 3 who are in the studio with me today. We're going to give some tips for home sellers as well. And we'll talk about why it actually makes sense if you're a home seller to list your home with Redfin.com and a Redfin agent. So Dale Intrikin, my co-host today from Synergy One Lending and HomeLendingSanDiego.com. Dale, I saw a story today in the news about how interest rates are now approaching. I don't know if we've made new all-time lows, but we're really close to all-time lows for mortgage rates. What is that doing, do you think, to the marketplace, and how should people take advantage of that?
Well, what we've seen over the last 20 straight weeks is sub 4% interest rates, like on average. So, wow. I mean, that doesn't mean all across the board on every program, but on the Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae programs, the conforming program, and that goes with FHA too, because it always runs a little lower, and VA a little lower as well. But we're seeing sub 4 interest rates, and so what that's doing is it's generating a lot of increased interest in refinancing and purchasing, and that's really starting to generate a lot of business.
Now, is that could that be that blessing also be kind of a problem in disguise?
Yeah.
When we have such a warm market right now, and I'd love for you guys to jump in at any point here, I imagine in your shoes, you got a hot real estate market, you've got interest rates at these levels. Is that making it more difficult to be efficient on the mortgage side of things?
It is because your upfront timing is probably the most difficult, because when you're trying to get approvals and you're trying to hit those initial contingencies, you have to get all your paperwork up front from the borrowers, and you have to get as much as you can looking ahead to what their conditions are going to be on their loan to try to make sure that you can hit those contingency periods and hit your close of escrows, because underwriters are certainly bogged down. Mortgage applications are up, home prices are up, everything's kind of going together. So that means more difficulty with appraisals. And so it's definitely putting a little bit of time crunch.
What do you guys think?
I've had several listings lately that the buyers on the buy side, the appraisals aren't getting ordered until very late in the process. And a lot of that has to do with that upfront underwriting and having all of that information, because a lot of lenders require disclosures to be disclosed first, and they can't do that until they have the information from the borrower. And by the time their 3-day disclosure period is up, we're 10 days into a transaction, and now the appraisal's ordered, and then the appraiser can't get there for another 3 days. And so I agree, it is very important to make sure that you have all of that paperwork up front.
Is that the solution here? I mean, to that whole situation with just timelines and whatnot in a tough market like this, where it's so hot, to just inform people. If you're out there buying a house, they're gonna ask you for some paperwork. Go ahead and do that right away.
Yeah, it definitely helps. I mean, it helps you to get over those first couple hurdles. The challenge is a lot of companies are doing e-disclosures and different things, and so there is an educational curve too, to try to help people through those disclosures, because used to be you sit down with them and write them all out. Now they're doing them at home, and they're confused sometimes, and they don't fill out their paperwork. I'll get to it tomorrow, and they don't realize that that's slowing down the appraisal. That's slowing down their time frames. They think they're just disclosures. They think, oh, I got it disclosed, I'm good to go.
Yeah, I tell you what, I see the e-signature stuff going away, by the way, at some point. Because if you've ever signed an e-doc, you really don't read it. I mean, it takes you right where you need to sign. You're just clicking. I mean, it's like one of these days I see that going away. Like, we're going to have to get back to ink and paper, and I know it's
you're going to anger
a
lot of loan officers and real estate agents.
I disagree.
I'm just telling you, I've signed a few things in that manner, and it's pretty easy not to read it.
Absolutely.
But going back to doing things up front,
yes,
it's also going to save you a lot of time later, and it's going to create efficiency, because you're not going to lose out on as many offers as well. Because if you're pre-approved and you've been underwritten beforehand, and you've gotten everything taken care of beforehand, you're going to look that much better to any seller, and you're more likely to win during multiple offers. And therefore, you're not going to lose out on that first and second and third home, hopefully. Maybe you only lose out on one. Maybe you don't lose out on any. You get the first home you want. But that's also going to, part of doing all that work up front is also going to save you there.
Okay. Think so? You agree with that, Sheree?
Yeah, I do. And something that I was talking to you about earlier was the cross-qualifying. So if you have a lender that you've already turned all of that paperwork into, and you have a listing agent that you're working with that's going to require you to do cross-qualification, you just match those two lenders up together, they exchange information, and that lender then can say, yes, this person is fully approved.
Okay. Yeah, it makes it a lot easier to do that cross-qualifying. Very good point there. Willie, what do you think about the market? Tell me about the market in San Diego right now.
Yeah, the market is, it seems like a broken record every time I come on the show. It's hot, it's hot, it's hot. Everything's moving right now. Of course, there's certain neighborhoods, certain zip codes, certain pockets that are hotter than others. We were talking a little bit earlier before the show about the luxury market, maybe not moving as swiftly. I'm representing some clients now. We're looking in the 2 million plus range, Rancho Santa Fe, La Jolla, Del Mar. Those aren't necessarily flying off the shelf like the, maybe the 600 to 900 range. Or anything around the 56 corridor right now, if anybody's been out there and seen all the new construction and everything out there. So, everything's still moving pretty swiftly right now.
Yeah, I say the 2 million market never seems to be like crazy, right? Because there's less people who can afford the 2 million plus range. But we've seen a lot of homes appreciate up into that range. It seems like in the past, 3-4 years have gone from being 1.5 to now being 2. So that's pretty interesting. I think you're definitely right about the lower end. I mean, if you're looking for a home under, let's say, $600,000, which a lot of people are, because we're talking FHA, VA, if it's a really good property, there's going to be other people with their eyeballs on it. So you got to be ready for it. Sheree, what do you think about the market right now?
It definitely is hot right now. Almost every property that I put on the market is seeing multiple offers. And that's the first weekend on the market, if not the second weekend on the market. So you have to be ready to compete against other buyers that are looking in the market. And I think Willie's right around that 3 to 900,000 range are the ones that I'm seeing a lot of the multiple offers on.
Now, do you use value range pricing at all?
Sometimes I do. The problem with value range pricing is the buyers always want to be at the low end and the sellers always want to be at the high end. So if you kind of don't know where the value is, or maybe you have a seller that wants to be above the comps and you think the price is a little less, that's the situation where I would put a value range in there. And sometimes the seller's right and does end up selling for that higher price. It just depends. But for the most part, if you price it right and the market dictates it, that it needs to go for more, that those multiple offer situations will end up going over the asking price.
I'll tell you, I was on Redfin, my Redfin app earlier today looking at properties, and I saw one that was priced $499 to $579.
Wow.
So
That's awesome.
there's a big discrepancy. I was looking at it, I was like, $579 seems too much. Then I opened it up and I saw the range. I was like, well, $499, that could make more sense.
That's a big range, yeah.
And then you can write that $500,000 offer,
Right.
and then they're going to
And
get
you're-
you up.
And you're not out of line if you write an offer for $500 in that situation. That's what I like about it. It encourages people to make an offer, even though it may not be ideal.
Yeah.
for the
It's like
seller.
when you're at a store and there's got that pushy salesperson. It's like, just make an offer, make an offer. They just want to get you to start talking. The sellers want you to to talk.
What do you think about the market right now, Jordan?
I've been saying it since beginning of this year that the prices have been going up, and I've just been saying I don't have the data yet to prove it. Now we finally have the data to prove it. A bunch of sales have happened over the past month, 6 weeks, and it clearly shows that the market has gone up from what we saw late last year, November, December. So month over month, we're up 4%, and we're up 7% year over year at median sale price for San Diego now.
Wow. Okay, so that's a nice, healthy amount. I like to hear those positive numbers, but not crazy numbers.
Yeah,
you
yes,
know?
we've seen a lot of that gain in the beginning of this year from, I'd say, June of last year through to December. It was pretty darn flat, and then January, the third week, I felt it start to pick up, and it's been like that since. And every sale
I'll give you credit.
is higher than last.
I'll give you credit. He did say it. He said it. The man said it. Uncle Jordan got it right. All right, you're listening to the Redfin Roundtable here on the Real Estate Debate. Coming up, we're going to give some tips for home sellers. It's almost the perfect time of year to sell your home historically. Well, what are some of the things that you could do if you were a home seller to make the most when you go to list your home this season? Stick around for more Redfin Roundtable right here on AM 760 KFMB.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Debate with Mr. Credit on AM 760 KFMB.
All right. Welcome back to the Redfin Roundtable here on the Real Estate Debate. Mr. Credit here, your host. My co-host today, Dale Intrikin with Synergy One Lending and HomeLendingSanDiego.com. Our three agents in the studio from Redfin.com today are Jordan Clark, Willie Wilson, and Cherie Bray. We're going to talk about, it's that time of the year. If traditionally, you would say that this is that time where you start thinking about putting your home on the market, right? It seems like, June, July, everyone knows, historically speaking, these are the hottest times, the best times to sell your home. If you guys disagree with that, please let us know. But what I'd like to do is give some of these sellers a few tips, some things they can learn today from you and your experience at Redfin.com to get the most out of their home sale experience. Jordan?
Well, in response to that, depends upon your personal circumstances. When's the best time to sell?
Right.
Because if you say over the past 3 years, when was the best time to sell? It's today, because the market's appreciated, right, all the way. If you would have sold like a couple months ago, you would have got a few points less, percentage points less. So, it's all relative. But, for a seller, the first step to determine whether or not it's the right time to sell or not is to look at your bottom line. So how much are you going to net if you sell the property right now? So talk to a specialist, realtor specialist, and figure out what your property is currently worth. So at Redfin, we can do that for you, no obligation. We're always no obligation. We never want you to feel pressured whatsoever. We're just here to provide you information when you want it. So our listing specialist like Cherie can give you a specific number that gives you a good idea of approximately how much your property is worth right now. And then talk to your mortgage company, figure out what's the remaining amount that you owe on the property. And then with the help of the listing specialist, you can figure out all the other costs that you're going to incur. And at the end, you're going to figure out how much you're going to net.
So think about the net first.
Think about the net first. And then once you know that, also figure out, can you rent out the property? Is it beneficial to rent out the property right now? And can you go purchase what you want to purchase without having to sell? Because we want you to be the best off possible at Redfin. And so often owning real estate is a very lucrative venture long term. And so if you don't have to sell, 30 years ago, if you didn't have to sell your property to buy your second property, you'd be better off now if you had 2 properties, more than likely. Yeah. So it's something to always consider. Do you have to sell your property in order to buy your next one?
And if not, do a rental analysis.
Yeah.
See what you could get for it.
Exactly.
Makes sense, especially with rents being so high right now. Just a really good time to do that. Good stuff from Jordan. Sheree, you're our listing specialist today. You've got to have some tips for sellers out there. This is your world. This is what you're working every day.
Sure. So the next thing you kind of want to look at is when is the right time to sell? What time of the year? Spring has historically been the best time to sell. Redfin did their own case study on this, and they looked at over 7 million properties throughout the U.S. From 2010 to 2014, and they showed that 39% of homes that listed in the spring sold in 30 days or less, and 15% of those sold for over their asking price.
Wow.
So winter was a close runner-up, followed by summer and then fall. So spring is the best time to get your home on the market. So we're approaching the end of spring coming up here.
I know. It's like it's crazy, but we're in the thick of it, and the market's doing really, really well.
Yeah.
Willie, for sellers, what do you think?
Yeah, so we have a tool called the home pricing tool, and it's basically a way to kind of just stick your toes in the water and get an idea of what your property's worth. So a lot of people obviously go to Zillow. Everybody knows about Zillow, but often, you'll hear both sides, right? They love the price or they hate the price because Zillow has a tough time deciding or determining what the true value is because maybe the owner put in some really nice upgrades, did some things to the backyard, those kind of things that sometimes Zillow really can't factor in. So we have a pricing tool on our website that our customers and our users are more than welcome to have at. And it's interesting because some people even notice that we actually have a link directly to Zillow to get a Zestimate off of Redfin. And so people go, well, why would you want to do that? Isn't that your competition? No, not at all. We want our clients to be educated. So we know that they're going to go to Zillow anyways. So why make them open up a separate tab, go to Zillow? We just make it real easy. Go ahead and click Zillow, but then you're going to come right back. Try our home pricing tool and compare the two. So it's all about education. It's all about bouncing the numbers around. And then, of course, once you kind of are ready to take that next step, then reach out to one of our listing specialists because then you're really going to need some nitty and gritty details about the comparable sales in your market, in your neighborhood.
Yeah, because these online tools, there's things they just can't factor in.
Right.
Right? So they're always going to be a little bit of a guess. Now, they might turn out to be correct or close to correct, but that's just you can do that with a good guess. I mean, you could guess a team is going to win the World Series and get it right, but there may not be a science behind it. With regard to home values and demand for specific types of homes in particular, that can change a lot. So maybe use the tools as a way to kind of just get an idea. But then don't take the numbers that you get from those tools and use them as hard and fast, to go create calculations. Use that to give you some kind of range, but then work with a specialist to get those figured out.
Yeah,
So
you need someone to tell you how much it's worth with your upgrades, your view, your location in the neighborhood. And maybe there might be some negative aspects. Maybe there's a little bit of street noise and you don't know how to value that because an online program is not going to be able to give you those numbers.
Yeah. Dale, from a mortgage side, I'm curious, is there something that home sellers should know to make sure that they do to their house in order to make them eligible for financing? Are there certain things that would cause lending problems with a property?
There's always things. I mean, if you have condition issues, roof issues, holes, broken windows, those sort of things are always going to cause a problem. But I don't think people who are selling their house that have those kind of condition problems are necessarily thinking financing. They're thinking probably I need somebody to come over, take this house, buy it for me, buy it cash, buy it, with some sort of special financing. Traditional lenders are not all that tight on that kind of stuff. I mean, as long as your house is in pretty good condition, you can get it financed.
Okay. Yeah. So financing hasn't been an issue in that regard?
Well, one thing you want to take into consideration, you want to make sure that things are up to code. So there are things that an appraiser can call out and require it to be fixed, things such as having carbon monoxide detector in the home so the appraiser doesn't have to go back out and
you save your client some money by doing that.
Yeah. Make sure your water heater is strapped according to code. An appraiser will likely call that out. Make sure your furnace will turn on, those types of things.
Yeah. Well, there's also permit issues. I mean, you can run into too. If you have with a conventional loan, if you have unpermitted bathrooms and bedrooms, they can back out the square footage where FHA allows you to, if it's in a workmanlike manner. They don't require there necessarily to be permits. So, it just depends on how the property itself. Most people, if they bought the property and there's unpermitted things in there, they're not going to. It takes a process to go to the county, get it all permitted.
Oh, yeah.
So a lot of people will just sell it as is. And if you're getting a conventional borrower, a lot of times that can pose a problem because they won't include that square footage in there.
Okay.
But with FHA, they will.
Okay. So that's a nice piece of information. If you've done work without being permits to the property, then no, that could become a problem. So you may want to look into that. Anything else, Cherie, you would have for tips for sellers coming into the hot time of the season here?
I think it's very important to make a strong debut going on to the market. With that first day that you're listed, your property will go out automatically to anybody who has a saved search, not just on Redfin, but on the local MLS. And that first 15 minutes that your home goes out is when your home is going to get seen the most.
And nothing is worse than getting that alert on your phone, pressing it, and then
there's no
blank
pictures.
picture.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like you're going to forget to go back.
Right.
So you're losing all those buyers.
So professional photos, I would say, are one of the most important things that you can do for your home to help it sell for quicker and for more money. Staging comes into question. Your listing agent will recommend that if they think that your home does need staging. But the photos are what's going to really draw people into the property. Redfin also offers a 3D scan tour that no other agent in the whole United States has. What it is it's a virtual camera. It's kind of like Google Street View, where somebody can log into Redfin and they can go and virtually walk through the home. They can pan up at the ceiling, they can look down at the ground, turn around in circles, and walk through the whole house and give them a whole in-person experience. And what that does is anybody who's looking out of the area can see their home and really feel what that home is. And then it also saves the sellers time later, where if somebody doesn't think that it's the right floor plan for them, then they're really only making their home available to qualified buyers that know that they want to see the home in person.
Yeah, and I tell you, I've seen that technology, and I've seen the machine. It looks like something from the Jetsons. I've seen it at the Redfin offices. It's really, really cool. Coming up on Redfin Roundtable here on AM 760 KFMB with Mr. Credit, we'll be talking about why you might want to consider using Redfin.com and their brokerage to list your home for sale in this season. Right now, stick around. We'll continue to make you smarter than everyone else.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Debate with Mr. Credit on AM 760 KFMB.
All right, welcome back. Thank you for hanging out with us on your Sunday afternoon. Mr. Credit here, listening to a very special edition of the Real Estate Debate. It's called the Redfin Roundtable. We have 3 agents from Redfin.com San Diego right here in the studio. We also have my co-host today, Dale Intrikin with Synergy One Lending and HomeLendingSanDiego.com. This has become something that I think is just barely touching what's possible in San Diego, and that is listing your home with Redfin.com. So what I would love to do is have each of our guests in the studio today tell us why someone should consider using Redfin.com to list their home for sale if they're going to be selling their home, obviously. And what kind of why they should do it, Willie.
So this is one of the reasons why I love coming on the show, Derek, because I know that it still baffles me how many people I speak to out there in the world that do not know that Redfin is a full service brokerage. Let me say that again, a full service brokerage, meaning if you want to sell your home, you can sell your home with us. If you want to buy a home, you can buy your home with us. So today, specifically talking about listing your property with Redfin, I do represent mostly buyers, but I also help clients sell from time to time. And it's funny, when I sit down and do this listing consult, it's like the biggest no-brainer. I tell people in my circles that coming to Redfin was the second biggest no-brainer. The first was marrying my wife. But using Redfin, first of all, let's just talk numbers. Let's just talk brass tacks here. 1.5% to list with Redfin. Okay, so what are the naysayers going to say? They're going to say, well, what am I losing? So you're telling me that I'm going to save a full percent, but what am I sacrificing? The answer to that is nothing. In fact, you're going to get even better service. You're going to get more tools at your disposal. And I think I won't steal the thunder from the rest of us here, but we'll talk about some of those tools. And we just did in the previous segment about the 3D walkthrough. That's just unbelievable. And let's just have some fun here for a second. How did we get away for so long in this market calling a slideshow a virtual tour?
With the music.
Literally, and collectively as an industry, how did we get away with that for so long? So we actually give you a 3D walkthrough. So if you're listening to this show right now and you have not tried that out, go to redfin.com, look at a property that you were interested in, and do the 3D walkthrough.
A Redfin listing.
As long as it's listed by Redfin, because we are the only brokerage, as far as we know, in the country that has that.
Just click the little icon
that
that's red.
Yep.
Yeah, there's like it's like a red roof, right? That's on the little house when you're on redfin.com when it's a Redfin listing.
Exactly.
Yep.
I love it when I go to call a listing agent when I have an out-of-town client, say I'm just going to go by to video the property. They're like, oh, we already have a virtual tour. And I'm like, do you really have a virtual tour or is it just a slideshow? And they go, it's a slideshow. And I go, then it's not any better than just a bunch of pictures. So I need to video it.
So they zoom in on the still pictures and put music behind.
They rotate them quicker. It feels like you're walking.
But quickly in summary, Derek, it's always about using Redfin, whether you're buying or selling with Redfin. It's always about the marriage of technology and a local expert at your disposal. That's what you get. And there's a lot of brokerages out there that can give you an excellent agent, and we know tons of them. But the technology that we have to offer on top of that, with that personal customer service, is just it's unparalleled.
Any specific numbers we should know, Willie, about?
The average number, if you were to list with Redfin in San Diego County, would be about $15,300. That would be your savings if you chose to list with Redfin.
You would say $15,000.
$15,300
In your pocket.
in your pocket.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
Sorry, that's worthy of a change. Okay, and this is based on the information that you guys have accumulated over probably hundreds of transactions. So it's not like this is one person who saved 15. This is an average over a big number. The average home seller put an extra $15,000 in their pocket. That's crazy. Cherie, why list with Redfin?
Well, Redfin listings get more exposure. We are one of the top online brokerages as far as having properties available to view online. And being a Redfin listing, you get prime coverage on the website. We don't offer that to any other listings. Everything else is just syndicated in from the MLS. So we do give prime coverage to our sellers that are listed with us. They automatically show up at the top of the search. They get a big red icon with a big red R on the map, so it draws in extra attention to their listing. We also run a banner ad on the right-hand side of the page to draw in activity of maybe somebody looking in a different area. And then second, Redfin provides each listing with a customized and highly targeted email campaign when we go live on the market. If you can imagine, we have over a million users in San Diego browsing our website each month. And what that means is we have a lot of contacts that most traditional agents would die to have. So those contacts are our direct marketed campaigns when you go live on the MLS and it syndicates to Redfin. When we have an open house, if we have a price reduction, we have a tool called last call. And when we get an offer in, we can give our sellers the opportunity to send out an email campaign to anybody who's favorited the home or it meets their criteria. Maybe they've already seen it. We can send out a last call email saying, hey, we have an offer in. We're reviewing it tomorrow at 5. This is your last chance to get your offer in. And then finally, Redfin agents are paid on customer satisfaction, not on commission. So when they list with us, I have to do a good job in order to do well for them. So I'm paid on a salary, and then when we close on a transaction, Redfin sends them a survey and asks if they would recommend me to their family and friends. And based on that survey response, we get a small bonus. So their satisfaction is what is our number one priority.
Yeah, so you're incentivized to do a good job.
Yes.
Imagine that. How cool. Did you know that, Dale?
No, I didn't. That's really interesting. I've never heard of that pay structure in real estate.
Yeah.
Yeah, this doesn't exist anywhere else in real estate. That's why it's so cool. That's why we have to do these roundtables.
Yeah, that's really neat.
Jordan, why should I list with Redfin?
Less risk and by selling faster. So average days on market for a Redfin listing nationwide is 8 days faster than the market average. So Redfin's 23 days. The industry average is 31 days. And 72% of all Redfin listings sell within 90 days versus 63% with the national average. So that's a difference of 9%. So you're 9% more likely to sell with Redfin and you're also going to sell 8 days faster on average. And so out of that that savings that Willie was talking about, that's $15,300. We're also going to, part of that is because we're charging you less, but also part of that is because our listings get more money. We end up selling our listings for more money than the market average. And so out of that $15,300 total savings is an extra $7,325 for San Diego County that we're going to sell your property more than the market average. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cold, hard cash we're talking about here. Dale, I'm telling you. You see?
Yeah.
Do you see now?
Yeah, definitely.
Any questions?
Well, I was wondering about the 15,000. I was wondering how that breaks down.
Okay.
Because that was an interesting number. Because I think we only got to hear about the 1.5 to list. Is that for the entire listing? 1.5%?
So typically a traditional brokerage is going to charge what, 2.5%, right?
Yeah.
5% total, 2.5% to the cooperating broker, and then 2.5% to the listing. So we just shave off a full percentage. See, on the buy side, Dale, what we do is we actually offer a refund. So we actually share a part of our commission. So if you're looking at a property on Redfin, you will actually see that number, and it's based off the list price. So if I'm representing a buyer, we make an offer on that property, get it accepted. The day that we wrote that offer, whatever that number was on the website that day, that's cold hard cash. That's going to be sent to you after the close of escrow. So when we're looking on the sell side, we're like, well, we still want to offer something extra to our clients that are selling with us. And so that's what we did. We shaved off that 1%. Now, Jordan shored up kind of the other half of that because these are numbers. These are facts. These are numbers that it's data. So we're selling for somewhere around $7,500 more than the typical brokerage. So
Because of our awesome marketing and our awesome presentation of your house.
Yeah. So if you're looking at the $700,000 home, you're saving $7,000, right? The 1% savings on the list side, and then additional 7 on top of that, just because you're selling it quicker and more efficiently.
Huh, that's great. That's I mean that to me as a seller would be, I mean everything that goes into it, all the marketing, everything, the numbers, the cold hard truth about how much you're actually gaining by working with them would be the most important, and that's a big number.
And you're getting a high level of customer service on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
And going further on the numbers, to know that you're priced right. So sure, you're just talking about coming on the market strong. Part of that is pricing your property right when you come on the market. So we're good at that because we're experts in our field and we're localized. And so we're able to tell you how to price your property. But then that's not good enough. So we have a home dashboard. So if you're listing with us, you got a private website and it's going to give you private data just for your listing. So I sold my house earlier this year with Redfin and it was awesome. So put it on the market, checked in a day later, and I was able to see that I had more page views, I had more favorites for my listing than the market average, 4 times the average. And that made me know I priced it right.
So you had analytics, basically.
I had analytics.
You get analytics.
Real time.
All sellers get this.
All sellers.
Analytics tell you how many views, favorites, the activity on your house.
Exactly.
That's huge. Oh, that's so huge. Because how many times, in a traditional setup, someone overpriced their home, they don't understand that they've overpriced it. And I know because, traditional agents will struggle sometimes with having to go back to the seller and say, okay, it's been 2 months. You ready to listen to me now? But I guess you could figure that out a lot faster if you had a dashboard that was telling you, hey, you're way below the average here as far as how many people have favorited, how many people are looking at this house. You're not getting the eyeballs. There's a reason. It's the price.
I had an escrow rep talk about the listing a house and he had a friend of his that had a property that was listed, and he talked about how overpriced it was and how it sat on the market. One of the things he said is you missed your grand opening. And I thought grand opening is kind of a really great term for what you're doing. When you first put that house on the market, he said you missed it.
Yep.
Blew it.
That's huge. And that's exactly what Sheree said. You have to make sure you do well. You're listening to the Real Estate Debate. Today it is the Redfin Roundtable here on AM 760 KFMB. Coming up, we're going to talk about some of the new technology at redfin.com. Stick around. We'll make you smarter than everyone else.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Debate with Mr. Credit on AM 760 KFMB.
My favorite rejoiner music of all time. Great stuff. Welcome back. Listening to the Real Estate Debate. And once a month on the Real Estate Debate, we do what we call the Redfin Roundtable. We have 3 agents from redfin.com come into the studio, tell us what's going on with Redfin, what some of the advantages are to using the website, of course, to look for properties, and, of course, using the brokerage itself to buy or sell a home. Co-hosting with me today, sitting in the two-seat, Dale Intrican with Synergy One Lending and HomeLendingSanDiego.com. Dale, have you learned anything today?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the savings, the 3D tours blow my mind. I want to go home and go check it out.
You're going to love that.
I'm going to get on the computer right when I get back to my house. I'm going to check it out.
It's like the first time you figured out how to use Google Street View, and you started just going and walking around places, like you're like, oh, let's go in Thailand and walk down these back alleys. It's the same thing with this, except for it doesn't get old because each house is different. So you could get lost. Yeah. I mean, you could spend hours doing it. If you really like to look at real estate, first of all, Redfin.com is the place to go. Second of all, if you like the 3D tours, you like to look at the inside, if that's really important to you. How does the house structured? How do the bedrooms lay out? Is it split bedroom? All that stuff. You can find that out with this tool. So cool. And there's more technology, which is what we're going to talk about now. So, Jordan, can I start with you? Because
of course, sir.
You're going to talk about hot homes, and this is my new favorite thing on the website. So I'm a big fan of the favorite button, which helps me keep track of the properties I like.
Right.
Hit the heart. Boom. Now I'm getting emails when it goes pending, when it closes, price reductions, anything that happens with that property, I'm getting an email automatically. I love that. Mm-hmm. So I see a home, I want to check back in on it later, but I may not remember it, heart it, and it's going to tell me what's up with it. My new favorite thing is the hot home feature. So I like to look in marketplaces in price ranges and say, for example, today I was looking in Carlsbad, sub 400,000. That was the only criteria in my search, sub 400,000, and I took off the other property type because I didn't want to look at the trailers. Okay, right. So that was the only criteria I put. And you go and you look in there, and you can see a whole marketplace. You can see exactly what you can get in an area for that price range. The really cool thing is that the hot home feature works in all price ranges, of course.
Yes.
So when you go and you do that, then you see these certain homes, and they're orange, and it says hot right on top of it.
Yep.
What is the hot home, and how do people use the hot home feature to understand what's going on in the marketplace like that?
Well, it's a quick and easy way to know which homes are hot, which homes are going to sell quickly. And so if you're on redfin.com and you see that little orange little box up on the top left that says hot home, you're going to know. You can click it, and then right below the details of the property, it's going to say hot home. And then it's going to say the stats. So this one that I'm looking at right now, it says there is a 70% chance that this home will sell in the next 13 days. So it's going to be customized towards this property, and there's a huge long list of data points that our scientists up at Seattle have put together an algorithm to determine which properties will sell quickly. So how many favorites, how many views, how quickly they've reached so many views. All these hundreds of data segments have shown how quickly a property will sell and what's the percentage of accuracy. And I got to say, I think that they're way more accurate than they actually say here, because pretty much every time that they say that the property is going to sell that quickly, it does.
Yeah.
And
so if you're looking in a marketplace, you want to see what the best deals are. You don't necessarily have to look at all 80 homes that meet the criteria and try to decide which the best ones are. You can start with the hot homes. It saves a lot of time.
Yeah.
Because usually those are the ones, they may be tough to get if you're a buyer. Those might be the hardest ones to get.
Probably going to face the most amount of competition on those. But at the same time, knowing that it's a hot home is also going to change how you react to it. So I often have clients that say they want to go take a look at a property, and they're like, oh, but I'm not available till this weekend, and it's a Tuesday right now. I'm like, okay, no problem. But then I'll notice that it changed from just a regular listing to a hot home, and I go, oh, no. We got to get out there right away. This property is going to be gone before the weekend. Let's go out there tonight.
Yeah.
Let's go out there in an hour.
In fact,
and sometimes my clients are like, I'm at work. I can't get away. I'm like, no problem. All right, I'm going to go to the house right now. I'm going to FaceTime you because we got to see this right now. So it really changes the urgency. And so it helps people not lose out on dream homes.
I would imagine if you're a seller too, Cherie, it might be a decent idea to look and see what some of the hot homes are.
Yeah.
In your
Pay
area.
attention to the hot homes, how they're priced, how they're upgraded, how their photos are taken and they're staged. Use that data to help set up how you're going to list your home price-wise and showing-wise and so forth.
Speaking of prices, Cherie, tell me about the Redfin Price Whisperer.
So we have a really cool tool called Redfin Price Whisperer, and what it is if you're not quite sure about the price, or maybe you think your home's priced a little bit higher, we have that that really large database of contacts that I told you guys about earlier. And what we do is before we go on the market, we collect some photos from you, 4 to 8 photos. We ask you to write us up a short paragraph description about your home, and we send out a test email campaign called a Price Whisperer to see if your home would likely sell at the price you think that you either want or you think it's going to sell for. All it does is ask 3 simple questions, yes, no, or maybe, if someone would be willing to pay for this home. It doesn't give the property address. It just tells the general vicinity that it's located. And based on, it takes about 4 or 5 days to get all of the data back in. And based on that response, we proceed with how to price your home.
Wow. So you essentially can use that before the grand opening.
Yep.
And to test the waters with the pricing.
Yes.
Oh, that's huge. That's free, too.
It's free.
It's totally free.
Yep.
Which is pretty much just like everything on Redfin.com. It's free. What a great tool. The Price Whisperer. Love it. Willie, are we going to get a story from you today, or are you just going to tell us about the matchmaker?
Oh boy, story. I actually did not come prepared with a story today. No.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah, we'll have to do that next time. But no, we'll pick up on a couple more of these tools. That the interesting thing about a Redfin user is if you were a self-proclaimed expert on Redfin's website, which you would think us agents should be and are, but the point is we change so often. We have our technology gurus up at our corporate headquarters constantly, daily, by the minute working on our website to always make it better. They are always looking to enhance the experience, to provide more tools. So when I sit down with clients and I meet them for the first time and I say, you know what's funny is you think you just get me. You think you just have me representing you and helping you in this real estate goal of yours. But guess what? There is a whole fleet of people behind me, behind doors, that you have no idea what they're doing to help you accomplish your goals. So one of these tools that's been out for a little while, it's the Redfin Matchmaker, and that is basically it is just what it sounds like, right? We are going to put listings together with prospective buyers. So we are able to just email these listings, so they'll come through our software system. We're able to just email them out to our prospective buyers, and what that does in turn is it also drives additional traffic to Redfin listed homes. So it just generates, although most people are very savvy using the Redfin website, sometimes there's maybe a home or a neighborhood or a zip code that they really haven't considered or thought of. I'll give you an example right now. Carmel Valley is just smoking hot, and what a lot of people are now realizing is that they're having to push a little bit east on the 56, going out to Rancho Penasquitas. There's a little hidden area called Park Village. I don't know if anybody knows over there.
Love Park Village.
That is such a great little area, and so what I'm finding is a lot of my clients now that were looking in Carmel Valley, really wanted Carmel Valley, but they just kind of got squeezed out by the competition and the prices getting inflated. Just go down a few miles and there's this cute little neighborhood called Park Village, and you're still close to everything you want to be. So this Redfin Matchmaker tool is this is the kind of tools that we can utilize and just enlighten people and maybe give them a little bit more perspective on, hey, you know what, there are other options out there than just around the corner where you were looking.
Yeah. That's great. So does that tool work? Is that something that you can do on the website? Do you have to submit information? How do you use?
So it's actually, a lot of the beauty of Redfin is it's almost like autopilot. So a lot of times my clients go, Willie, well, so what do I need to be doing? And it's like, you know what? You don't need to be doing anything other than just logging onto Redfin. We are doing the work for you. So this Redfin Matchmaker, it's actually being generated based off of your activity. So I know it's in a way kind of like creepy.
They must
big
think
brother.
I'm crazy because I'm looking at everything.
Right. Yeah. So that's. I mean, we have access to that information, and so that's what we do with it. We're constantly gathering it so that we can help you.
That's awesome. Dale, are there any questions you have about the new technology from Redfin, or anything you want to just say is?
How much of this is for just any individual who just comes on the site? I mean, is this all for clients who are like under contract on listings, or is this some just for anybody?
It's anybody. All you need to do is just supply an email address to create a Redfin account, and that's it. You have access to everything we've talked about today.
And
awesome.
we're not pushy. Like, we're not going to send you 1,000 emails and try to work with us or whatever. We provide you all this service because we just want to be transparent. We want to provide everyone with a great website. And if you like that and you want to work with us and get a great service from an agent as well, then we're here for you. But yeah, no obligation whatsoever. Use our app, use our tools, everything like that is there to make you a better educated purchaser and seller.
I really wish that the listeners could have seen Dale's face when we enlightened him that us agents are paid on a customer satisfaction bonus and a salary versus commission. But that's really what all this boils down to.
Yeah, that blew my mind. That's so rare.
Totally out of the box.
Yeah, because usually it's like, hey, you got a 6-month contract with this person, and they don't want to break it.
Right.
And to have people paid based on their performances is pretty amazing.
Yeah, and you're never locked in, right?
No, never.
You're never locked into a listing contract with Redfin.
Never an obligation.
You're never obligated to anything.
That goes against like every real estate training that has been out there. So it's like
I'm just
awesome.
But you know what? It's what you want as a buyer. As a customer, that's what
best.
you'd want. And so you give the people what they want, and they appreciate it.
Yeah.
They recognize it.
It's a really unique thing that a lot of people don't know about. It's exactly why I enjoy doing and why I want to do these Redfin Roundtables every single month, so we can let people know that there are different things going on in the world of real estate. There are new things. In fact, there's a lot of new things happening at Redfin.com. And by the way, you can sign in with your Facebook account, which is what I do. Really simple, so you don't have to memorize another password or anything like that. A lot of people don't want to, another password. I don't know what all my passwords are. Just sign in with Facebook. You know what that one is, or Google Plus, and you don't have to worry about the password. You just sign right in with that account, and you're good to go. Big thanks to everybody who was on the roundtable today. Dale Intrican, my co-host from Synergy One Lending, HomeLendingSanDiego.com. Dale, thank you for being here. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Also, Willie Wilson. Willie, thanks for being here.
Thank you, sir. Great time.
Cherie Bray from Redfin.com. Thank you.
you.
And Uncle Jordan Clark, the newest American citizen in San Diego. Thanks for being here, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
All right, that's it. Stick around for Talking Money with Mr. C right here on AM 760 KFMB.